So why CI/CD matters? This is a short introduction into what CI/CD is, how it works within the teams and companies, how those companies that are practicing CI/CD are different from those that are not, and it's also at the same time overview of the market that we are addressing. Okay, so let's get started. Well, it's all about the speed of a feedback loop. This is a core component of CI and CD. But before we jump into that, let's see on a more on a higher level what the feedback loop is and how it works. Well, essentially, feedback loop is getting feedback on what you do and then adjusting your course based on that. As an example, you're studying, then you're having an exam, and on that exam, for instance, if you don't pass, it's a feedback loop for you, what you should change ideally to pass that exam. Or if you get a mark which is not maybe ideal that you wanted, it's a chance to adjust your course. Or as an example, you cook a soup, you know take it out in front of your guests, they don't like it very much, then you go back into the kitchen, you adjust your recipe, you do it again. And the speed of this feedback loop is varies based on what you are trying to accomplish. But the faster feedback loop that you get, more chances you have to learn, and the more you learn, the better you will become. So yeah, it's you build something, you measure how it performs, you learn from it, you build it again. Okay, so once we have defined what the feedback loop is, let's move on and see how that applies to our industry. So, based on a recent survey done by DevOps, which is called DevOps Report, 20% of organizations deploy multiple times per day. That means that they are shipping the newer version of their products in front of their customers or to their customers. And yeah, and in this quote it says those teams are twice as likely to meet or exceed their organizational performance goals. Okay, so this 2080 is what we will be swimming in, and the whole presentation will be divided in those two sections. First, we will be addressing those 80% of organizations who are not yet in this state that they can deploy multiple times per day. And we will see how they are executing and what they are doing, and then later we will go deeper into and see what these 20% of more successful organizations are doing. Okay, so in essence, those 80% of teams that are not shipping multiple times per day have slow feedback loops because they're shipping less frequently. That means that they have less chance of getting that feedback loop closed quickly. Okay, and let's see in practice for those teams how feedback loop looks. So we have a development team which is working on a new version. Once they have something, they pass it to the QA team, so it's a quality assurance team, which is manually checking if the app is working as it should be. And then a couple of days later, that feedback is passed back to the development team. As you can imagine, these QA teams have backlogs, and they are usually servicing more than one team, and they just cannot deliver back those results. Usually, they cannot deliver those results of what is working, what is not, very quickly to the team. So this can be improved, and over last 20, 25, 30 years, we have learned a lot about how software can be shipped more efficiently. And this is not the ideal way how you make and ship software. So let's see what can be improved. But before that, let's see how this feedback loop of validating if the software is performing as we envisioned fits into the whole let's say, business cycle of shipping software. So business comes with some requirements. We want to change something in the way, let's say, our purchase form works. We request that from the development team. Then we have that small feedback loop here, figuring out if it works. And once we get that thumbs up, what usually then happens is that we have a manual deployment process. That manual deployment process is also inherently error prone and stressful for teams. And ultimately, in the end, in any kind of workflow, something lands in front of the customers. But the feedback loop for the business team here is definitely weeks, if not months long, before we decide that we are going, from the point that we decide that we are going to do something to the point that something is in front of customers, and then we can get the feedback from them and adjust our course if needed. Okay. And what are the effects of working in this way? Well, this is definitely much slower. And yeah, business is losing money because of these inefficiencies. Inefficiencies are all over the place. And yeah, they eventually sum up to something big, which is significantly dragging the team. And yeah, if you are working in this way, you are essentially opening up a window of opportunity for someone else who is doing similar or the same thing to outperform you. Okay, so this is the overview of a slow feedback loop. And now in this second part, we will take a look how fast feedback loops work. So in the previous version, what we had development team, we had new version, that's the same. What is different that we now have this continuous integration. And what continuous integration is? Well, continuous integration is a practice of integrating the changes that you have made on daily basis and getting results on those integrations very quickly and minimizing that blast radius of something going wrong. So you are making more changes, integrating them more frequently and testing them more frequently. Testing these changes is done through automated testing. So those automated tests are code as the code that you are writing for your application. It lives in the same code base, and it is essentially testing application on various levels, on very granular levels that, maybe some math is okay, to the very high level that some form or part of your application and website is performing when you're clicking through it the way you want. Beauty of this is that it's computers are executing those tests, and even if you parallelize those, you can get the results very quickly. So in just a couple of minutes, you can have your whole application tested. So what it means for developers in practice? Well, once they make a change of the code, they ship that to CI service, to CI tool. All the tests are run, and you get what you get back is essentially red or green light. If it's green, that means everything is passing. If it's red, that means that there are some tests that failed, and you need to improve here. So we drastically reduced that the speed of that feedback loop. So we went from a feedback loop which was a couple of days to a feedback loop for the development team, which is just a couple of minutes.